Hello everyone, and welcome to this tips and tricks video for my time at Portia. I hope to be able to show you a lot of different interesting things about this game, so here we go. This is part 2 in my series on how to make a lot of gulls as quickly as possible in my time at Portia. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, you're going to want to start there, because there's a lot of fundamentals that we go in there, a lot of early game stuff, as well as just good long-term solutions to be able to make as much money as possible. But here we are in part 2, let's get started. Let's start here at the workshop. A lot of people are going to be looking here for ways to be able to make a lot of money quickly, and they should. It's an excellent place. Let's start here, under the little cogs tab here. And let's go all the way down to the spray bottle. Common household thing that you would normally find in the real world as being dirt cheap. Well, here, it sells for $400 a piece. And these are incredibly easy to get a hold of. Glass is made in any sort of furnace whatsoever, and you can make it in huge amounts. Copper pipes are made from simple copper bars, which you can smelt in the same kind of furnace you're making the glass in. And in order to grind the pipes, it simply takes a grinder. The amount of time you're taking, not very much. And your final ingredient is going to be the pigments. Now the pigments are created from rainbow flowers and have to be put into a blender. So this is obviously going to be a late game type of moneymaker. However, late game, this can be an incredible moneymaker, because these pigments, you only need 2. The rainbow flowers make multiple pigments per flower, and if you have a nice large garden, you can make an enormous number of pigments very quickly. Combine these 3 together, and their individual ingredients come out to less than 200 a piece. So when you combine them all together, long term, you're going to create a very hefty profit. The next thing we're going to look at is underneath the furniture tab, and as you can see, it is the conductive igneous floor. Now, I had mentioned igneous brick in my other tips and tricks video on how to make money, and the igneous brick itself is quite profitable. However, if you're willing to put in the additional time and also grind aluminum wires, which are made incidentally from putting either aluminum bars into a grinder or by using the comprehensive grinder, you can make them from your raw ores. But if you want to take the time and actually add in aluminum wires, combining the 2 of these becomes incredibly profitable. Again, individually, if you were to sell these separately, they'd come out to roughly about 200 or so, maybe a little bit more. But when you combine them together and take the time and make the conductive igneous floor, you've got, once again, a very hefty profit. And while these individual components may take a while to make, this is nearly instant. The final item we're going to go over is the herb fence, also located under the furniture tab. It's all the way down here at the bottom. This is far and away the most profitable thing you can make. Hardwood planks, only 2 of them, very easy to get a hold of hardwood, and planks are simple and quick to make. And the rope, well, that's a little bit harder, but actually not terribly hard, because in order to make rope, you only need 2 items. I'm going to go over here right now, and I'm going to go and cover it. As you can see, I'm making rope right now. In order to make rope, you simply need plant fiber and cotton. And while plant fiber is incredibly easy to get a hold of, cotton's a little bit harder. But if you come over here, you can see I have an enormous amount of copper being made. And I am making certain that these are going to be heavily fertilized the entire time. When these cotton come to fruition and I'm able to harvest them, they're going to give me an enormous amount of copper, which I'll be able to then turn over here to the skeever for 1 each. 1. This makes this incredibly profitable to an extent that, frankly, I was shocked when I first saw it. When we're talking about a 500 gall profit for something that is worth 9 galls here and maybe, I believe, 20 here, we're talking about an enormous amount of profit, over 400 galls per. And the cool thing about this particular item is that if you can get this recipe early on, this can be made as quickly as you're able to plant cotton. It's an incredible item to make, and I highly suggest making them as quickly as possible and making this a part of your general ongoing money-making scheme. I wanted to give you an idea of just how profitable the herb fence can be. As you can see below here, I have collected up the 2 ingredients required, the hardwood planks and the rope. Now this might seem like a large amount of resources to pull together, but actually it really isn't. With 2 skeevers and 3 cutters, it took me about 3 days to pull together the resources that you see below. So let's come on over here and let's see what kind of profit we can make out of this. I should point out that when I made these, I was using one of the new perks that we have, which is the Artisan. 20% to reduce the material costs when crafting on the work table. And because of this very useful perk, I was able to take what would normally be 33 herb fences and stretch it out to 40. So when you're thinking in terms of profitability, do bear in mind that this perk right here is incredibly useful. Let's go ahead and sell these and see what kind of profit we can get. In order to adequately represent just how much profit we're talking about here, I had to come all the way out to the Station Trade Center. The Station Trade Center has the most amount of galls they can spend on purchasing your items. And granted, again, we are at market price of 106, but this should adequately represent roughly how much money you're going to be making off of this. And I also want to point out that for this first sell, I'm going to go ahead and sell 33 of these and not the full 40 because I do understand that my perk here does add additional items to sell. So we're going to assume for a moment that you don't have the artisan skill there and that you're just going strictly for profit without it. Now if we try to... here's what's funny here, guys. I try to maximize this and, well, she doesn't have enough money. So we got to reduce it down to an amount she can afford, which is 31. Think about that for a moment, guys. The person with the biggest budget in the game can't afford 3 days worth of profit. So let's go ahead and sell what we have. And we're going to have to go all the way over to Polly to get to sell off the rest of this. I'll meet you there. Here we are at Best Brother. This particular shop has the 2nd largest budget in the game to buy your items. So let's go ahead and let Polly buy the rest of these, which is going to add another 5,100. And for those of you who are keeping track at home, that is a grand total profit of 22,000 galls. And actually 22,000 and some change. This is an enormously profitable venture here. Granted, you're going to have to put in a little bit of effort. You're going to have to make sure that you are setting up your cotton crops so that they are rotating out on a consistent basis. And you're going to have to keep making lots and lots of hardwood planks. But fortunately, hardwood's pretty easy to come by, and cotton is very cheap to grow and to make. And as long as you're fertilizing those crops, you're going to get an enormous amount of cotton. You're going to make an enormous amount of hardwood planks, and you're going to get an enormous profit. This is far and away the best money in the game. Let's look at the next way to make galls really quick and really easily. Here we are going fishing again, because fishing is a very profitable way of making money. And in this particular case, I'm going to be showing you the late game, most profitable place in the entire game in terms of fishing. And that would be right over here. There's a fishing spot that is only accessible once the desert is open and you're able to navigate your way around all the way over to here. Unfortunately, there is no way to cross from this DD stop. And that's really too bad, because you could cut off an enormous amount of time traveling. As it is, just getting from here with my horse took quite a bit of time. But as it is, we'll be able to continue fishing from here, and I'm going to show you just how profitable this particular location is. I'm going to spend as much time as I can fishing here, and I'm going to utilize all of my stamina points in order to show you just how profitable this is. Since this is a late game, I have no problem using up all of my stamina in order to truly show you the full profit-making potential here. So, here we go. Well, I've been fishing all day, and it looks like I'm going to be ending for the day here pretty soon. I'm going to be passing out here if I don't get home. So let's sell this in the morning and see what kind of profit we've made. Alright, well, we are here the next day. Let's sell our fish and see what kind of profit we made. Well, here we are with good old Polly. Hello, Polly. Alright, so as you can see, we caught 15 Emperor Bladefish, 2 Emperor Blue Mackerel, 17 regular Blue Mackerel, and 45 Bladefish. Let's sell them all and see what kind of profit we can get. Bear in mind the market price is a little bit higher than normal, but this should be generally representative of what you'll be making. And survey said, gulls made 12,290. Not bad. We haven't even completed selling all of our fish yet, because that's only what Polly could do. Let's come over here and finish off the rest of it. We're gonna go ahead and include the junk that we fished up as well, since that is part of the profit. Add in another 490, and you have just under 13,000 gulls in a single day of fishing. Not bad. The final little tip that I have for making gulls is going to seem a little weird. And frankly, it's not something that I would normally suggest, but surprisingly, this is pretty profitable. And even though it requires a lot of hard work, if you've got the spare parts and you've got the spare time, it can actually make you quite a tidy little profit. And that part is the firepower generator. Now, this is obviously kind of a difficult build to make. First you have to make a civil furnace just to begin with. And then, of course, you have to find a industrial engine down in the ruins, and then you have to go through the effort of creating steel plates and copper coils, all of which requires a lot of prep work, and frankly, it's kind of a hassle to make. And if you're not actually at the level 3 assembly station where you can actually make these on a mass scale, honestly, it's simply not worth it. If you're still building on a normal assembly platform, don't bother doing this. It's a huge hassle. And even with the assembly plant, this can still be a huge hassle. And I'm not even sure if it's entirely profitable. But to be fair, I should at least mention this, because the sum of the individual components that this thing has, all of this together, if you were to sell them separately, is roughly about 1,800 gulls. Selling a power generator by itself, however, is 3,600 gulls. So you're literally doubling your money for the effort that you're creating. Personally, I'm not going to do this on a regular basis. But if you just feel like doing it thematically and you just feel that, you want to make a shop that, that you're known for creating generators, then hey, just so you know, firepower generator, big profit, just a lot of hassle. And that concludes my two-part series on how to make as many galls as you can in as short amount of time as possible. Hopefully this has given you a lot of insight on how to do both short-term bursts of money as well as long-term sustainable money. And I hope maybe this will take you into a better game of my time at Portia. This is the best game and I absolutely love it. And I hope to continue making tips and tricks videos as I learn about them so that I can help you enjoy the game all the better. Thank you for watching, and as always, everyone, always remember that anyone can be a mouse that roars, but it takes someone special to be a lion that squeaks. So embrace your inner lion and squeak on! And go make some money.